What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you'll receive a notification every time that I drop a video. And you can go and check the video out. Let's get into it. This transpired in High Desert State Prison. Of course, the most violent prison in the state of California. Period. As I've said on many of occasions by now, I got to High Desert in 1999 with a 10-year sentence. I did not belong on a level 4, but they sent me up there anyway. I told you that story in one of my first videos. I got there in 1999 in November on B-Yard, a level 4 270. I explained the difference between a 180 and a 270 before, and the different designs that they have. I went to the hole, I explained why, and I ended up on C upper yard, a 180 there in High Desert. Now, while I was in the hole, I knew that I was going to be going to either C yard or D yard, both 180s. And as I said, when I first got to D yard on orientation, the female CO had told me in no uncertain terms that this was the most violent and dangerous prison in California. She may have said the word, but she was not exaggerating if she just said California. And so when I'm sitting there in the hole, I'm ruminating about this. And I'm pondering the whole proposition of me ending up on this level 4 180 when I should have been on a damn level 3 just some months ago. And I'd be remiss if I did not admit here that I was a bit nervous heading to the level 4 180. I had heard so much about it, particularly there on B-Yard. Some people who were able to make it off the 180 and get to the lower level of the 270. And they're coming over there with all of these war stories about the violence that's transpiring there on C and D yard in High Desert. And they are not exaggerating, and I just know it. Hell, even B yard was violent. And that's a level 4 270. So I got to the C upper yard, and it's nothing more than a wall that separates the upper yard from the lower yard. It's sort of a tall wall with, I believe it has barbed wire over the wall, but you can still hear, the lower yard. Sometimes their handball will come over the wall. We throw the handball back over the wall. That's how close in proximity we are. Plus, we went to the visiting area together, the upper yard and the lower yard. We will also go behind the wall, as I have alluded to before, to go to canteen, laundry, program office, etc. And we will connect then with the lower yard. So word was constantly passed about any transgressions or any newsworthy happenings. And I had heard at one point that there was tension on the lower yard between the blacks and the Southsiders. I did not have the full story. All I knew was that the blacks had wanted a Southsider off of the yard for some transgression, and the Southsiders did not get him off the yard. That they had just paid his debt, but said that they wasn't going to get him off the yard. So there was tension. There was some kind of face-off and this and that. That's the word that I had got. And then I got into a situation there on the upper yard and ended up going to see lower yard myself while all of this was going on. And when I got there, everyone was letting me know what had happened about a month prior, which was essentially the story that I had heard, which was that it was that a Southsider had got into some sort of debt with one of the blacks. I'm assuming, we can all assume what the debt was. But normally they were pretty tight up there, even when it came to this. But sometimes, they would slip up and go overboard with purchasing this contraband and not all the time be able to pay. Sometimes people would get on them about that situation and issue an order for them not to have any dealings with blacks as it relates to that, until all of these debts are paid or what have you, as to circumvent a riot. But on this occasion, this Southsider had got himself in a little debt. And so the blacks had went to the Southsiders and said what the debt was, how the debt had come to be, and that essentially, they wanted the debt paid, and that, they wouldn't mind basically if this dude got up off the yard so that they wouldn't have any more problems out of him. But I'm not sure if they, particularly demanded that he get off the yard or not. But I believe they asked for them to remove him from the yard. Either way, same thing. And the Southsiders did not remove him from the yard. Now, I don't think that they ever said that they would and just went back on it. They may have told the blacks right then and there. Again, I was on the upper yard at this time. I wasn't there. I wasn't privy to this transpiring. However, many blacks had told me what had happened, as it had just happened a month prior to me getting to the lower yard. So it was still fresh, and it was still tension on the yard when I got there with the Southsiders over this situation that had happened just 4 weeks prior or so, because there was a little face-off over this. Now, the protocol is, from my understanding, the way that I was taught, and I was new, though still to the 180 at this time, but I still knew enough to know that once you ask that someone is removed and they are not removed, it's supposed to go up. You're supposed to attack whoever did not remove the situation, whatever group it is, whatever faction it is, period. If someone comes to the Hoovers and say, man, we want this dude off the yard because of X, Y, and Z, and we refuse, we can brace ourselves and just know we might as well go on the offensive, because they are about to attack us, because we're refusing to get this dude off the yard who they say is a problem or disrespected them or their car in faction in some manner. And they can't stand to look at him here on the yard. They want him off the yard. I've explained that before. They want someone off the yard and you don't remove them, it's going to go up. So I'm wondering how come it didn't go up. And I'm pretty much asking this question. But understand that I'm only one man. I'm only one person. And there are many gangsters in High Desert State Prison at this time. And I'm sure now you have to be to hang in there for real. And, it's 400 or 500 blacks on the yard. I'm just one. And minus a few weaklings that have yet to be weeded out, everyone is strong. But every yard has a couple of dudes that just has not been exposed yet. And 5 years later, he does something that causes everyone to say, man, damn, he was faking from the whole time. He was never about that life. If he ended up doing that, he was never solid to begin with. But he had everyone fooled. We all thought that he was. But now we've all divested him of his reputation and said that everything you did in the past has now been negated, because ultimately you put an ultimate sin, erasing everything that you did that was worthy in the past. We all have them, but for the most part, they're in High Desert on the yard, C lower and C upper. Nothing but soldiers. I am serious. So they had made the decision not to go up over this. Far from me then to come down here. I wasn't even there when the situation happened, trying to push a line, talking about we should go up. Man, that shit happened a month ago. I wasn't even there. I don't even know exactly what happened. I would have been out of line. So I just fell in line with it. But I was uneasy about it. And I was uneasy with the Southsiders really there on the yard. They had Norteños on the yard too in High Desert. And I was more rocking with them because I really did not trust the Southsiders. I didn't understand how come they didn't remove the dude from the yard. Normally they would have removed him. They would have took care of business. And so I'm saying that was really disrespectful to the blacks not to remove him. And I'm asking the blacks, I did ask a few of them, how come y'all didn't go up? Like, what happened? He said, well, they paid the debt, and everyone, not everyone, because some people did want to go up, but for the most part, people were just like, okay, they paid the debt. Nobody's going to deal with dude again, and that's just going to be the end of it. Nobody has any dealings with him as far as that stuff is concerned. Okay, sometimes riots are avoided, but I had a feeling that had the shoe been on the other foot, the Southsiders would have got off. If we had not removed the black from the yard when asked to. And they had a small face-off in the day room where the dude was at, the building that he was in. He was in the same building with the black that he had been dealing with, that he was in debt with. And they had a little face-off there in the day room, the blacks and the Southsiders. First them two, and then everyone got involved and had a face-off. That's when they asked him to remove him. They didn't remove him, had another little small face-off in the day room. But that was it. Well, fast forward to me getting there a month after that situation. And about 2 weeks into me getting there, a black had got himself in a situation with a Southsider there in the dorm or in the day room in one of the buildings. And I forget exactly what the dispute was over, but it was something pretty heavy. And lo and behold, the Southsiders had come now, ironically, and asked the blacks to remove him from the yard. You can't make this up. I'm sure they were hesitant to ask this, knowing that they had just not removed their people from the yard now a month and a half prior. And when the blacks, when I caught wind of it, I immediately said, hell no, I don't care what he did. He ain't going nowhere. In fact, the blacks had already said when I hit the yard, we just let it go. But we had said to ourselves, okay, if one of our people do something, don't come asking us to remove him from the yard. We're not going to do it. And I said, well, y'all going to be prepared. We all going to have to be prepared to go up. Because we accepted that doesn't mean that they going to accept it, bro. Oh, yeah, we going to be prepared to go up. Okay, let's be prepared to go on the offensive then. If a situation like this should arise, and here it is, I promise you, 2 weeks after I hit the lower yard, they came and said that they wanted this black removed. Now, again, they was reluctant to bring this to the blacks, knowing that they had not removed their people from the yard. And, with his situation. And the black said, let us talk about it, discuss it amongst ourselves or whatever. We'll get back to you. And that's exactly what we were doing. We were going over this. But I would say the vast majority of the blacks said, oh, nah, man, we not going to remove him. Period. He ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just about to be what it's going to be. It's just going to have to go up. And so I'm explaining to a couple of blacks, my celly name is Hurt. And at the time, he's a non-affiliate. I met up with him in the county jail the last time that I was there. And he's now from Dodge City Crip. That's the young homie, one of the best cellies I ever had. We used to be in there. I'm going to have to tell y'all some of the stories. We used to be chilling and clowning and just trying to get through the madness. And I'm going over this with him. And I'm explaining why it's important to go on the offensive. Because again, if you do not go on the offensive and the other person or group does, it puts you at a major disadvantage. Because now my guard is down somewhat. I'm vulnerable, even though my antennas may be up. But if I'm not the one on the attack, I don't know when they're coming at me. I can be sitting in the chow hall with no weapon, eating. I can be sitting in the day room playing dominoes with my back turned. I can be walking the track. I don't have my thing on me because I'm not going on offensive. So maybe I don't got my thing. And now they attack me and I'm in a vulnerable position. It's always best to do the attacking, period. For that reason, now they are in the vulnerable position. And it's not that I'm prone to violence or have a propensity towards violence, or nor am I inclined to violence. Just I am inclined to self-preservation, to self-protection, to self-love, and love for my people and protection of my people. That's it. And I was really believing that once we took it to the Southsiders and said, we're not removing them, because that's what everybody's agreeing, that's what we're about to do, period. Then as we say it, we need to take off. Because either they're going to take off right then and there or the next day or whatever once they prepare themselves. That's just what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. And it's just not me again. This is everyone's decision. Or, certain people's decision or whatever. So we're all going over this. And it was just agreed that, man, look, we'll just be prepared. Everyone to strap up or whatever. But they're probably, they're not going to take off, bro. A few of the blacks had a good rapport with their main guy. And they were convinced that they were not going to take off. Particularly because the blacks had not taken off when they had just did the very same thing a few weeks prior. Okay, fine. I was against that. I was not the only one against that. Many blacks felt like we should go on the offensive, that we should attack at this moment, bro. For real. But it's just so much division amongst us. So many channels you got to go through to get on one damn page. To get all these different factions on one page. I'm not going to get too far into that right here. And so, okay, fine. Everyone, I'm going to be prepared. Make sure my homies are prepared. Everybody that I know in the yard and got love for, man, y'all make sure y'all got y'all thing. And be out here. Let's do it, bro. Be ready. Because it's probably going to go up. And so, the next day or so, a couple of blacks pulled the shot cart over. He had some protection right there by him, near him, some people on point as he was speaking to the blacks. And they were going over this with him, and they had explained that they too had taken umbrage to the fact that they did not remove the mole in their faction when asked to. And that, in fact, we felt like they had a lot of temerity and unmitigated gall to come to us less than 2 months later and sort of demand that we do something that they themselves had just refused to do. So the answer was no. Not because this person was not in violation, he would receive a DP, but because you guys didn't remove your people from the yard for whatever your reasons were. Maybe he was a higher up. Y'all didn't feel like it was worthy of a removal. Y'all just gonna pay the debt, whatever y'all reasoning was. And whatever our reasoning is, we're not going to remove him from the yard. So that's that. If it's going to be a problem, let's get it out the way, basically. They're trying to get the Southsiders' reaction, the main guy. But again, the person that's talking to him, they're pretty cool on the yard. They're pretty tight. And again, he was convinced that that was going to be the end of it. But as he started talking, the shot caller for the Southsider, he got a little loud. He was upset that he was saying that he was not going to remove him from the yard. And all the Southsiders started walking towards the main guy. And all the blacks started walking over there. And it was a big face-off for about 10 minutes, bro, as they continued to talk. I'm surprised the police did not lay the yard down and say, get down. as they did uh, even in San Quentin, the story that I brought you with the BGF and the Mexican Mafia getting into it. And when they had faced off on the yard, they brought in extra police and called yard recall, lock it up before it kicks off. And then they try to get to the bottom of it before it happens. So I'm surprised that they didn't, because it was a big, every South Side on the yard and every black on the yard was faced off. For sure they all had weapons. For sure we all had weapons. It's about to go up. The tension was high. My heart was beating a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's finna go. It's on. You know what I'm saying? It's on. Now, again, it really only takes one to just rush them. Everybody, it's it. It's going up. It's going up. If one of them rush up, it's going up. Whoever rush, whoever, just one, it's going up. Everybody. And since I wanted to go on offensive, I swear that's really going through my mind. Man, just get off. But it was already said not to do that. And that can really get you in a lot of trouble later on. You can end up unalive for violating a call like that. Because I jumped the gun and it goes up, and a lot of blacks get hurt. Forbid one is unalived or something. You know, people are going to want to know who kicked it off, who's responsible for that. That's it. But I don't want to sit here and be a sitting duck either. But I'm not feeling like I'm a sitting duck, because we're all tense and ready. They're tense and ready. So, you know, it's not like we're slipping. We're not going on offensive, but we're not slipping. We all strapped up, and they are too. It was a big face-off. All the police, you can see them at the doors at their buildings looking out. And then they opened up the doors, and they're just standing right there. The gun towers come out, and they got guns. They just right there on the railway on the outside tower. They're not pointing the guns or whatever. It's two or three of them that came up. They just know it's finna go up, because anybody can see that. And so they're going back and forth, and they're just talking. And a couple more blacks start talking. A couple more Southsiders start talking. And then, miraculously, things started to calm down. And I really couldn't believe it. I just knew it was finna go up right now, for sure. For sure. I mean, it was right there. We was right here in each other's faces. And everybody strapped, bro, period. That's just what it was. But it did not go up. You know, the situation was calmed down. And everyone made it back to their cells in one piece, somehow. That's a real rarity there in prison, particularly on a level 4 180, and even more magnified by the fact that it was high desert, where people have no mercy and no understanding, and violence is the norm. For the next few days, I was still on edge. But the two sides continued to talk. And eventually the Southsiders just said, it's one for one. We didn't remove ours, y'all didn't remove yours. Let's not do that again, though. Let's get back to the protocol, to the program. Somebody transgress against a rule, you know, he has to be removed. Well, yes, that's what we said, but y'all didn't want to remove him. And a war and a riot, and for sure, many injured people at the very least, because everyone had weapons, bro. They're in high desert on that 180 yard, period. And everyone was using weapons, period. This is no exaggeration. It was averted. It was circumvented. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's something that we all can learn from. I know the story ended anticlimactically. That you want to hear about all of the people who left on stretchers with their guts hanging out. But I'm happy to say, I personally am happy to say that didn't happen on this occasion. Because many blacks could have got hurt as well as many Southsiders. And we all, like myself, was trying to make it home to our families. However, the rules are the rules, and they didn't want to follow the rules. They didn't follow them for whatever. I still don't know. They had their reasons. They said we ain't gonna remove them from the yard, but we gonna pay the debt, and they paid it like the same day. And some blacks were uneasy about that, and some of them wanted to go up, but it didn't happen. But for sure, when they came and said remove them from the yard, I thought that they had a lot of gall. And immediately I said, hell no, no way. I don't give a damn what he did. Nope. Ain't no way. That cannot happen. But everyone has said that, not just me. I'm not some big tough guy. Everyone said, nah, man, hell no, we ain't moving him from the yard. Every black said that. It just, but it didn't go up. But it was a big face-off, bro. And everybody out there was ready to go up. And I'm sure some people's heart was beating just like mine was. But it was averted. And that's what happened. And that was right when I had got to the lower yard, a couple of weeks later. But not every situation was averted. And some are hard to avert. In many situations, again, well, it transpired there in High Desert State Prison. Man, some of the stuff was just nightmare inducing. And I still deal with some of the stuff, thinking about some of the stuff that I've seen, witnessed, and had to live through and survive through. But I did. Did indeed. Stay free, people!